alliance, though many felt uneasy. They understood that any leak could cause internal conflict. Camilla was satisfied with her decision. She believed Charles would not want to cause embarrassment in public, and Anne, with her strong sense of duty, would accept it without strong protest. Once the final revisions, Anne had already begun her investigation. Tension simmered ever stronger within the palace. Queen Camilla returned to her rooms full of confidence, but also mixed with anxiety. She knew that if the plan succeeded, it would be a major victory. But if it failed, it could become a difficult to ceremony concludes smoothly. This image will set a precedent for all future events, Camilla told herself with ambition. She envisioned the scene, Anne walking behind her, creating a perfect picture of approval from senior members. This would not only strengthen her personal position, but also solidify her role as queen. However, Camilla had not anticipated the inner strength of Princess Anne. She never expected that this famously resilient and straightforward woman could see through the entire plan in a single moment of hesitation. While Camilla was smiling with satisfaction over the final, will doubt it anymore. She added a faint smile, crossing her lips. To avoid unnecessary debate, Camilla instructed the team not to bring the matter up for wider discussion. Make the changes quietly and introduce the new diagram at the very last minute. No prior notification. The aides nodded in compliance. She believed it was only natural, even necessary, for Anne to walk right behind her to affirm the hierarchy. She had waited a long time for this moment. The image would be captured by the media and send a powerful message that the entire royal family had accepted and supported her position. How dare she resist? Camilla whispered to her, seriously challenged. The aides hurriedly moved to fill the gap without drawing attention. The rehearsal eventually continued, but the echo of that moment lingered heavily. Anne completed her part with outward calm, but inside her a fire of anger burned fiercely. She knew that in the royal world, every position in a procession carried far deeper significance than mere surface protocol. This was not a technical error or random oversight. Someone had deliberately changed the diagram at the last minute, and she was the target of that message. After the rehearsal ended, Anne returned to her private quarters. She closed the door, stood by the window overlooking the palace gardens, and clenched her fists. "This was not accidental," she muttered with determination. "They are trying to change something much bigger." The feeling of being used filled her with indignation. She had served the royal family her entire life without demanding anything. Her voice trembling with fury. Anne's silence felt like a public slap in the face, right in front of senior family members and the entire preparation team. She felt her newly consolidated authority being fixed on the person opposite her, her voice calm yet resolute. One senior official, after long hesitation, finally spoke. "Your Royal Highness, we only followed the final instructions we received. None of us knew who originally proposed the change." That statement reinforced Anne's certainty that this was no ordinary administrative. Requested private meetings with each official responsible for ceremonial arrangements who had handled the formation diagram. The atmosphere in those discreet meetings was tense. Anne sat upright, her sharp gaze fixed on the rift in her relationship with Charles and other family members. Nevertheless, Camilla remained determined. "I have waited too long. Nothing can stop this now." In the following days, the new diagram was meticulously prepared, ready to replace the old one at the right moment. Camilla's plan seemed perfect on paper. But in another corner of the palace, Princess Anne was leafing through documents with suspicious eyes. The silent confrontation between these two powerful women had officially begun, and it would continue far more intensely than anyone imagined. The morning after the rehearsal, Princess Anne did not wait. With iron determination, she took immediate action. She recalled the closed-door meetings that had taken place over the preceding weeks. The more convinced she became that this was no administrative error. It was a long-prepared scheme. But would Anne find proof before all traces disappeared? Or would Camilla turn that birthday event immediately behind Queen Camilla, as dictated by the newly delivered seating plan? The atmosphere froze instantly. Camilla believed that as queen it was only natural for Anne to walk behind her. But Anne saw behind the change not merely a protocol adjustment, but a calculated plan.
You get the atmosphere. I mean, I did find it harrowing. I mean,
Did you find it harrowing?
I did.
What was supposed to be a simple rehearsal for Princess Anne's birthday unexpectedly became the focal point plan to consolidate Camilla's power in front of the entire royal family. Princess Anne decided to investigate personally who had secretly altered the procession order at the last minute. The more she traced the edited documents of the most intense confrontation inside Buckingham Palace. Just minutes before the ceremonial procession was due to begin, Anne suddenly refused to take the position tradition, or an excessively rigid act of defiance. Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy.
Face turned pale. Anger and shame were evident. She clenched her fists, her voice sharp. I was only trying to protect my position after so many years of. We are symbols of stability, not an arena for power struggles. This action has crossed the line. The king made a firm decision. He ordered the immediate restoration of a multi-level review process for any changes related to ceremonial matters. Waiting. Don't you understand that pressure? Charles shook his head, his tone stern. Exploiting royal protocol to advance personal status is incompatible with the traditions the royal family has preserved. I have checked thoroughly. This was not a decision from the ceremonial department, but your direct suggestion. Camilla initially tried to deny it, her voice slightly trembling. I only wanted everything to reflect the proper rank. It was for our common benefit. Anne is blowing the issue out of proportion. But when Charles presented the specific evidence meeting times, internal emails, and witness statements, she could no longer deny it. Camilla's face. Collecting old documents, deleting electronic files, and replacing them with official edited versions. All traces were systematically erased, making me protecting what I deserve after years of enduring criticism and waiting. This is for the common future of the royal family. She also prepared careful defense scripts. She rehearsed cold responses in front of the mirror. I did not directly intervene in the ceremonial details. That was entirely the work of the specialized team. Her face hardened whenever she considered the worst-case scenario being directly questioned by her husband, the king. She had weathered many storms in the past, from vicious rumors to public pressure. So this time, Camilla was determined not to let everything collapse because of Anne's resistance. In the following days, the atmosphere in Buckingham Palace became more stifling and oppressive than ever. Aides moved hurriedly, like shadows, to the involved staff. She believed the combination of power and material benefits would be the most effective way to seal mouths. In her heart, Camilla justified her actions. Immediately noticed the anomaly. A look of concern flashed across his face, as her elder brother Charles always tried to balance family affection with his royal responsibilities. He quietly signaled to the aides, his voice low but authoritative, adjust the formation immediately. The position assigned to her immediately behind Queen Camilla brought her to a complete halt. She made no loud protest, no exaggerated gesture, yet that single pause was enough to make the entire corridor feel as if it had turned to ice. Aides exchanged panicked glances. The tension. We cannot allow the rehearsal to be disrupted. He knew his sister Anne well. She was not one to cause trouble without reason. Yet in this moment, he clearly sensed the discomfort spreading like an invisible wave. Queen Camilla stood at the head of the formation. The smile she tried to maintain on her lips had clearly stiffened. Her face flushed with anger and surprise. In her position as queen was like a bowstring about to snap. The once rhythmic footsteps faltered, creating a terrifying silence. King Charles III, standing not far away. As queen, my position must be respected appropriately. Even though this is Anne's commemorative day, my rank remains higher and must be clearly demonstrated. Posed.
but with eyes full of strong determination. She had summoned the team of aides responsible for ceremonial arrangements, those who held the most important details of royal events. In a clear, authoritative voice, Camilla began. "We need to adjust the order of the procession for Princess Anne's birthday celebration protocol. It is a way to affirm genuine unity." She was convinced that with King Charles working to build an image of stability after turbulent times, this plan would bring long-term benefits. Camilla had endured a long and challenging journey to reach her current position. From rumors and criticism to the moment of her coronation, she understood the value of public image. Once the photograph spreads, no one did. Some aides glanced at one another, showing hesitation. They knew royal tradition well. Precedence was not easily altered by a single personal decision. But Camilla continued firmly. "The image of Anne walking right behind me will send a powerful message to the public. The entire royal family has fully supported my position. This is not accidental. This was a deliberate plan by Camilla to use protocol to create the impression of complete consensus within the royal family. We cannot allow royal tradition to be exploited in this way. It affects not only me, but also damages the collective." He promised to conduct an independent review, cross-checking meeting schedules and statements from multiple parties. Leaving her brother's office, Anne felt somewhat relieved, but remained highly vigilant. She understood that this investigation could touch sensitive boundaries. However, her sense of duty and loyalty to royal tradition with new harmony. His sister's words made him uneasy. "Anne, I know you never exaggerate," Charles replied in a low voice. "I will examine this carefully. The reputation of the family." King Charles listened attentively, his face showing clear fatigue and contemplation. He had faced countless pressures since ascending the throne, and always tried to balance. The process seems to have lost the complete objectivity I expected. Anne sensed the hesitation in her brother's voice. She knew Charles loved his family and wanted to maintain unity, but the evidence this time was too clear. The conversation continued with Anne's logical analysis, gradually making the king question the entire process. But everyone felt the panic enveloping the queen. Camilla continued issuing rapid orders. Everyone must maintain absolute silence. If anyone asks, say that all changes were purely technical decisions by the ceremonial department. No one is permitted to reveal anything further. To ensure loyalty and silence, Camilla did not hesitate to offer generous rewards. Large sums of money were discreetly transferred. Her plan would be exposed to internal scrutiny, and her position as queen could be seriously undermined. Without hesitation, Camilla immediately summoned her closest aides for an emergency meeting. Her voice rose authoritative, yet revealing tension. "Recall all old draft." Footsteps heavy on the thick carpet. Her face was flushed, her hands clenched until they turned white with a mix of anxiety and intense fury. She knew very well that if Anne continued digging her carefully prepared versions immediately, keep only the official one. We cannot allow any mistakes or traces to remain. The aides sat in silence, nodding obediently. But she was also challenging a carefully prepared plan. And from this point, her quiet investigation would begin uncovering secrets and schemes that no one in the royal family could have anticipated. Late that night at Buckingham Palace, the building up speaking sharply to her close aide. "Who does she think she is? This is a palace, not a personal arena." What was supposed to be a simple event had become a visible crack in the fragile relationships within the royal family. King Charles, sitting alone in his office, sighed heavily. He had not approved this change. He knew that Anne's moment of hesitation was not a minor incident. It was the beginning of a conflict that could undermine the image of unity he was striving to build. Tension within the palace began to escalate. Princess Anne had not only refused to appear calm on the surface, but inside Princess Anne, a storm was raging. After the tense rehearsal, she could not sleep, The dim golden light of her desk lamp illuminated the stack of documents she had urgently requested. Anne sat upright, her sharp, and now she was being placed in a position where she had to acknowledge a new order in this manner. Queen Camilla, meanwhile, returned to her rooms still seething with rage. She walked briskly, yet many felt uneasy inside. Princess Anne entered with her familiar resolute demeanor. As the only daughter of the late Queen Elizabeth II, she was renowned throughout the kingdom for her iron sense of duty, her straightforward royal family before the public. Members of the royal household aides and ceremonial staff had gathered in full force. Everyone maintained a solemn expression into her greatest victory. The atmosphere in the corridors of Buckingham Palace was unusually heavy. This was the final rehearsal for Princess Anne's upcoming birthday celebration in August, an important event not only to mark the occasion, but also to demonstrate the unity of the entire forwardness and her unparalleled ability to withstand pressure. For decades, Anne had quietly contributed, participating in hundreds of engagements, supporting her brother Charles on his path to the throne, and serving as a steadfast pillar of royal tradition. She disliked drama, but she had never hesitated to defend what she believed was right.
As the procession began to move on the signal from the leader, Anne stopped. She stood still for a few seconds, her sharp gaze sweeping over the new diagram that had been delivered only hours earlier. The ambition to consolidate power would plunge the family into such division.
He decided to summon Camilla for a private meeting. The atmosphere in the room was heavy. Camilla entered trying to appear calm, but her eyes revealed.
The storm was approaching its climax. Queen Camilla had poured all her energy into extinguishing the fuse, but she could not be sure whether she would succeed in time. Meanwhile, Princess Anne continued her persistent pursuit of the truth, and King Charles schedules, minutes and statements from multiple aides. The evidence was undeniable. The proposal to change the procession order had come directly from Queen Camilla. Charles sat in his private office, his face showing clear disappointment and exhaustion. He had not expected that they stood between the two sides, facing the most difficult decision. After days of tension filled with suspicion and investigation, King Charles finally learned the full truth. With quiet support from Princess Anne, he had carefully cross-checked meeting schedules. Anxiety. Charles looked directly at her, his voice low but weighty. "Camilla, you proposed the change to the formation diagram, didn't you? However, with her resilient nature, Princess Anne would never back down from what she believed was wrong. That night marked the beginning of her quiet but determined search for the truth. A common expression. "I will find out the truth," she whispered. "No matter who I have to confront." She knew the road ahead would be fraught with obstacles and could strain already fragile family relationships. Anne carefully noting every piece of the puzzle, the timing of edits, the people involved, and the closed meetings mentioned indirectly in the minutes. It was no accident that everything had been done at the last minute to avoid broader discussion. Anne stood up and paced the room with a determined meeting room. At the palace, Queen Camilla had taken a bold step. Warm lighting shone on the polished wooden table, but the atmosphere was heavy with calculation. Camilla sat at the head, outwardly confrontation not only for her personal honor, but for the integrity of British royal tradition. The next morning as dawn broke, Anne was ready for the next steps. Tension in the palace was simmering, and no one could predict how explosive it would become. Several weeks before that fateful rehearsal, in a discreet in fear, she understood Princess Anne's strength, a resilient, straightforward woman with great credibility within the royal family. The fact that Anne had brought evidence to King Charles made Camilla even more restless. In a rare moment of it far more difficult to trace the origin. Many felt uneasy, but the pressure from the Queen was too great for them to dare object. Camilla sat alone in her room, gripping her teacup so tightly that the liquid rippled, whispering with fierce anxiety, "Anne cannot destroy everything I have built. I will not allow it." Though she tried to maintain the dignity of a queen on the surface, deep inside was genuine
Quiet, Camilla stood by the window, looking out at the palace gardens, shrouded in darkness. She sighed heavily, wondering if her original plan had been a great mistake. But then ambition rose strongly again. "I have gone too far to stop now," she thought. Erasing the traces might hide things temporarily, but it also unintentionally increased suspicion and tension within the palace.
somewhat relieved but maintained her resolute demeanor. She met her brother and said with deep emotion, "Thank you. I will continue to participate fully in royal activities, but I will not allow royal tradition to be exploited to serve any individual's interests. That is our responsibility to the crown." The story ends, but leaves much to ponder. Princess Anne continues her path of service with an indomitable spirit, affirming that loyalty to the royal family does not mean remaining silent in the face of wrongdoing. As for Queen Camilla, though wounded, she must face the reality that true power lies in acceptance from the family and tradition, not merely in a title. According to you, was Princess Anne's refusal to walk behind Camilla an act of protecting royal Choice but to accept, though her heart was filled with resentment. She left the room with heavy steps, whispering through gritted teeth, "This cannot end like this." It was the moment she realized the limits of her power, even as queen. Princess Anne, when informed of the outcome, felt
the altered diagram would be completely discarded and not used in any future events. More importantly, Charles announced he would consider whether Queen Camilla would attend Princess